I welcome you very much to the knowledge management.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Hi, I welcome you all to the Knowledge Management for Agricultural Development Challenge, specifically to the training sessions that we start today. I am Andreas, and I will guide you through the trainings in principle and specifically start the training with a session and also facilitate when other speakers are giving their lectures or facilitating their sessions. So I'm happy to see all of you here, and my co-facilitators here are Benjamin Abugri, and from an organizational point of view and technical point of view, Francis Odo from FARA. So we all welcome you very much to this training session. Well, I don't know how long we should wait for the other colleagues. It seems we are not yet complete, but maybe Benjamin can give an instruction on how long we should wait and also say a few welcome notes. Benjamin, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here, Dr. Andres. Yeah. Good morning from Accra. Good afternoon to those of you who are already in the afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you join this maiden edition of the Knowledge Management for Agriculture Development Challenge under the Knowledge for Development Challenge Initiative, K4D. So we are glad that you made it through your organizational selection process, and so you are here representing your affiliate organization. I mean, if I say affiliate, I mean the KADEP SP for institutions, in addition to GIFA, because we've been joined by GIFA, and so it's a very exciting opportunity. So on behalf of FARA, our Executive Director, Dr. Yemi Akimbamijo, then our Director for Research and Innovation, Dr. Agri Agumia, and then the leadership of the KADEP SP for institutions, like AFAS, led by Dr. Slim Nadi, ASARECA, led by Dr. Warinda Enoch, CADESA. CADESA is CADESA is led by, I think I have to get the name right, but once I get the name right for CADESA, we also have CORAF. CORAF is led by Dr. Abdul Tenkwanu, and so on and so forth. I'll get the name for you soon. But just to say that all the KADEP SP4 institutions are very much as excited to be part of this. And so we encourage you to rename yourself so that we have your full name as we know you. Then we can know how to address you properly. So I maybe back to Dr. Andres for us to start whatever proceedings. But I think at this point we have 21 participants. We can start the house cleaning issues, and then we can kick off. I'm sure by the time we are there. So please try and then just change your name to your full name so that we can capture you properly. Dr. Andres?
Yes, by the way, the Executive Director of CADESA is Dr. Cliff Lamini.
Yes.
So we appreciate all their contributions and commitments to this training, which we start. Yeah, thank you very much, Benjamin, for facilitating all what has been done in the preparation of this Knowledge Management for Agricultural Development Challenge. Benjamin and myself, we have been working a lot during the last months to make this possible, and we are happy that you are now joining this exciting program, because There is a big challenge that we face all together. Agricultural development is still not performing as good as we want it to be. And we know that knowledge and innovation play a tremendous role in achieving our goals, CAADP, Malabo goals. And we realize that only in a joint effort we can significantly advance the knowledge management challenges in Africa. This is why we initiated together this challenge, which brings together the change agents, the driving forces for agricultural development in Africa, that is you, to come on the same level of knowledge management, the common understanding, getting acquainted to each other, starting to think and work as a team, face the challenges that we have and find solutions. This is what we need to achieve. Find solutions for the common knowledge management challenges, and based on the increased social capital that we will hopefully create in these weeks and the knowledge that we gain through exchange, really we find groundbreaking solutions and then take also the commitment for the implementation. Benjamin has already outlined in the kickoff meeting what is expected from the participants and also from the facilitators and trainers. We are sitting in the same boat. We need to work on the challenges together. And please don't hesitate to get in contact with us, to ask directly if something is unclear. Let me now introduce to you the training sessions that we are planning. The training sessions will, in principle, all take place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Ghana time. Ghana time. This means you all have to think about your different time zones. For instance, in South Africa, it's 2 hours later, which means that is 1 to 5. And in Eastern Africa, it's 2 to 6. And each country has to think about what time exactly is it in my own country. So please, you will find all the trainings on the website of our program. Benjamin has shared it right now. Thank you very much. For today, we will have a sort of introduction to each other so that we know who we are and what we expect from the training. And then have a brief look at the fundamentals. I hope that a good number of you could already look at the video which I have prepared. And then I will introduce you to some KM models and standards. In the afternoon, there will be the knowledge managers of ILRI, the International Livestock Research Institute, Michael Victor, and the former knowledge manager of IFAD, Helen Gilman, two very recognized and very experienced knowledge management professionals, introduce you on how they implemented knowledge management in their specific context and how to develop a knowledge management strategy. In the next days, we will then deepen this, and you will learn about knowledge leadership, yeah, you moved back. Can you go back again? However, you will learn about leadership, about organizational issues like roles and responsibilities, processes like knowledge capturing or knowledge sharing, You will then also learn about how to design knowledge products and provide knowledge services, how to make communities of practice fly, and how to establish knowledge management in multilateral setups like the regional organizations, for instance. And next week, I don't go into these details, we will specifically have a look at the IT tools, where we have a number of outstanding experts in the area of knowledge management and artificial intelligence with us, and also the managers and drivers of the knowledge hubs from FARA, AFAS, Azareka, core of CADESA will be with us. So I hope that this will be a very fruitful and strong program for you. Of course, this cannot cover everything, and not everything in detail, but at least it should give opportunity to address the most important topics and to encourage you to ask any further questions if you want to deepen this knowledge. So I would like to stop the introduction of the program here and maybe give you a short opportunity to ask any question regarding the program itself or the overall setup before we go into an introduction round. Just one comment before I give you some opportunity to contribute yourself. The training sessions are planned on our behalf, that there is one session at the beginning from 11 to 12:30 Ghana time. Then we have a break of 1 hour, which was intended to be a lunch break. And then we have a second session of 1.5 hours from 1:30 to 3 Ghana time. So it is 1.5 hours, then 1 hour break, and then another 1.5 hours. Should you all desire to have a shorter break and then to conclude the afternoon session earlier, that would in principle be possible. So should you prefer such an option, then you could mention it right now here and we can organize it. So let me now ask you and give you the opportunity to ask any questions on the organizational issues, or Benjamin, if you want to add some other organizational topics that we need to discuss.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Andres. Maybe just for me to add a few things so that it might it might answer some of the questions that will emerge. Thanks to everyone for changing your names. At least it will make identifying you easier. So with one of the key things that we need to just take note is the fact that we want to make good use of the platform, this website, as much as possible. So every form of communication, interaction, we will try to capture it also on the page so that it can easily be accessible by you as much as possible. So just ensure that you take advantage of the use of the platform that has been created for the program. Now the platform has the facilitators, the details of the facilitators, as well as the participants. And so we will encourage you to, maybe as the day go by, just check and be sure what is missing from your profile. And then we can address them. You can send the details to me, and then we'll update the site as we go along. We want to be able to capture you as you are, as much as possible, so that the public can also know who you are very well. So just try and then let us have these details. We recognize the fact that connectivity is one of the key issues, but I think that the institutions that are concerned, I mean, if you have any challenge, probably your affiliated institution may try, you can try to talk it out with them for anything. But just to assure you that your participation is very important to us, the African Agricultural Network of CADEP SP for institutions. And so we look forward to you paying very close attention and also participating fully as much as possible. We indicated at the kickoff that whatever you are going to generate here is not just going to remain in the shelf. And that is one of the unique features of this initiative. The conference that we all are looking forward to participate in December is expected to showcase whatever findings that you come up with through this challenge, and also to communicate to the policymakers on what we look forward to advancing knowledge management in the continent, especially for agriculture. So whatever you are going to do here, we will want you to put all this necessary attention and detail to it so that it can all be captured very well. And our CADEP SP4 leaders are waiting for whatever outcome that we are going to produce from here, and then they will take it up from there for further engagement. So this is really something that, for me, I'm very excited that you have been carefully selected, and a number of you I have either known you or I have followed some of your work, or I have tried to follow your work when I saw your selection from your affiliate institution. So just to let us know that this is something that we take very seriously from the CADEP SP4 institutions. And just to also remind you that this initiative is to a large extent sponsored by the European Commission, with the funding administered by IFAT. And we are fortunate to have all the seasoned facilitators who have affiliated to some of these institutions as well to facilitate this. And of course, Dr. Andries is a seasoned knowledge management person. Any of you who have taken the pain to check his profile, you know he's been at the forefront of knowledge management for a very long time. And so we think that he is the right person to facilitate this process. So we want to give him all the necessary support and to ensure that we achieve it. He has already talked about the timing and the language. Also, we have tried to blend the facilitators with French, English. They may do their best. The first language will largely be English, but French is also one of the key languages that some of the facilitators will use. So for those of us who are not very proficient in English, we will try to make it up to you. And please don't feel shy to make your point as and when you have to. It's a free society that we want to operate for us. And then there is a document library that we have created on the platform, on the website. This document library is under resources, under documents, and then under KM4AD training documents. This is for the 2021. So we will create all the needed folders. We've already created some, but this is private access. It's only limited to us as trainers and trainees of this event. So every document that is required, we will upload it there for you to have access to. You are also free to recommend any document you find that you feel that participants should take a read, because this is a knowledge sharing and learning opportunity. And we know that knowledge does not sit on one person, even not the facilitators. As and when there's some relevant information, you can let us know. We will share it on the page, or you can share it yourself, and then we will take advantage and read through. For the under that, so that is a private access, and I've shared the login access. Just keep it to yourself. Well, you can either put a reminder, or you can configure your browser so that you don't need to log in again anytime you go into it. You can also write it down so that as and when you are going into the platform, you can access it. But the website is free. I mean, it's public, except that the document page, for the purpose of the training, we are still maintaining it private only for your access. So just for you to take note. The final thing I want to also mention is that in addition to this, we have the WhatsApp group. Please let us know if you are not on it. We have tried to put everybody on it. We also have, as I mentioned during the kickoff, we will be supporting this with the D group platform. You all receive notification about it maybe before the close of the meeting today. And so D group is a discussion platform which we would be working with in terms of being able to connect very closely, discuss other topics even outside the training session. So we will encourage you to take advantage of it. Now, one of the key deliverables, in addition to your participation here, is the need to, to support in terms of bringing together the needed expertise into the expert directory of the CADEP SP4 institutions. So we would be, it will be one of the deliverables that you'll be expected to support the CADEP SP4 institution to register some experts into a directory that will be used for both administrative functions that has been requested by governments in a number of countries that they want to be able to assess experts for assignments and so on and so forth. So it's one of the things that we will be looking forward. And you know you are all experts in one way or the other. So you yourself, you are even qualified to register when the time comes for us to make it available to you to be able to register other participants. And so we will also be showcasing you some of the products, the knowledge services that the CADEP SP4 institutions have already been working on, just for you to, to make any needed contribution that is required. And finally, we want to just encourage you that we are open as and when you have any idea, any suggestion, anything that you think we can do to improve this. We are the guinea pigs, maybe to use the English term, the guinea pigs, because this is the maiden edition of this initiative. So definitely we would be the learning source for subsequent ones. And so if there's any idea that comes to mind, any support you think you can give, any innovation you want to showcase whilst the training, whilst the challenge goes on, please feel free to contact any of us, Dr. Andres, myself, the other team members, Francis, Gabriel. Our contacts are there. Feel free to drop it, and then we will make room for that. So I think these are just the general things that I want to bring to bear, just so that it can kickstart any discussion that you want to have even before the introduction. So thank you very much, Dr. Andres, and thank you to everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for this additional information, specifically about the website, platform, and more. May I now give you the floor to raise issues, questions regarding the timing or any other organizational challenges or questions that you may have. Please, it's up to you to raise your voice if you want to say something.
Good morning. Just a quick one.
Good morning.
Yeah. My name is Fadlullah Isa from Nigeria.
Welcome.
Yeah, I want to appreciate all of us for getting here. Meanwhile, among the folders, with respect to Benjamin's messages, among the folders shared on, uploaded, is a folder called KM4AD Challenge. And within that folder, there is a 2021 challenge for cohort. Then within the folder again, you have fundamentals of knowledge. I got to all these places, but on opening that particular folder called fundamental of knowledge, it's empty. Is it deliberate or is it my issue? That's just the only question. I mean, with respect to having access to that material, is it that it has not been actually fully uploaded, or why didn't I have access to it? Thank you.
Okay, I think Benjamin is the right person to answer this question.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Isa. Yes, I don't know whether you are not on the web page. We are using, as of this morning, we've decided to switch to the web page folder, the KM4, and I provided details on there. Is it the same folder, or you are on the OneDrive?
Is that same folder?
On the web page. So on the web page, these are the folders we have. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the folders we have on the web page.
Maybe
So
you can
have
have the screen.
Yeah.
Yes, these are the folders we have on the web page. So I don't know if this is what you are talking about.
I came here, I was able to get all these. But they were all included on the web page before this.
Yeah, so we are now on this one.
It's okay.
I sent an earlier link on Friday, but we've moved away from that link. We are using this one. So when we are still on the KM training, where that is where all the resources about this stage of the training will be. And we have the video of Dr. Andres on the challenge. Yeah, it's being recorded. It's here. And we will be uploading any document that, all the presentations and any other document on this folder. So we just want to, at this point now, restrict ourselves to the folder on this page.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, of course, these changes have happened a very short term.
Yeah.
So please excuse any confusion that might have come up, and let's hope that after the first few sessions, these organizational challenges will be fully covered and solved. Is there any other organizational question, or is there a desire to shorten the break and to close earlier? That would be interesting to hear from you. Or are you all fine with the program as it has been provided, with 1.5 hours in the morning, then an hour break, and then an additional 1.5 hours?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Paul. Polachu. For me, I suggest that we can have 30 minutes break. That will help us to be able to energize a little bit, and then we can continue. Sometime we might decide to have a 1 hour, but then before you turn up, your connectivity issues are not stable, and you could realize that maybe the second session you may not be able to attend. So in my perspective, I think that we can have a 30 minutes break where you can maybe recharge your data or recharge your laptop or wherever it is, and then we can move on. Thank you.
So that is, thank you very much. This means there is one recommendation to shorten the 1 hour break to half an hour. Is there any other comment on this? Pros and cons?
Hello, this is Francis. I would like to suggest that for today, we just see how it will run because we don't know what yet to expect and how long maybe the questions and answers may last. From there on, we can have this discussion maybe the next day and see if we can either shorten or just leave it as is.
For today, we leave it as it is. Maybe we think about it again at the end of this session for tomorrow, okay? We can also do it day by day. Okay, so let us revise this question at the end of today. And if there is no other organizational question, except of course the translation to French, which I will probably discuss with Benjamin again after the session, if we can provide some translation. If there is no other question beyond that, then we can go to the introduction round. Okay? Good. In this case, I would ask you for the following. I would like to ask you to give a short introduction to yourself that does not take longer than 1 minute only, because we are 30 participants and we do not have the time for lengthy introductions. However, we are recording this session here, and if everybody can speak 1 minute and share the video in this 1 minute, then also the other speakers will have a first feeling about who they are training. So that in the next sessions, we do not need to introduce ourselves to the new speakers, but they just watch the video. However, of course, I will introduce all the speakers to you. So I will start right now with myself and introduce myself. I am Andreas Brandner. I am Austrian, and I'm the Executive Director of the Knowledge for Development Partnership. I'm working in the field of knowledge management for more than 20 years as a researcher, trainer, consultant, advocate in many different parts of the world, in all kinds of sectors. And my ambition for today and for this whole challenge would be to share as much knowledge as possible with you, learn from you, and co-create the solutions for the future. So I'm very excited to work with you. Thank you. May I ask all of you to talk about yourself, your function in the organization, your expectation from this challenge, and maybe your personal target for the next weeks. May I hand over to Benjamin?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Andreas. So I have the privilege to begin with AFAS. AFAS is the African Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, and they have 5 strong representation on this challenge. And as you can see from my webpage, I will start with Fadla Issa, and then we move on to Mark and the rest. So please, over to you.
You are muted, Dr. Issa. You are muted. We cannot hear you.
Thank you very much, Benjamin and Andre. My name is Dr. Olaiwola Issa, a Nigerian. I work for the National Agricultural Extension and Research License Services under the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria as a principal extension specialist. It suffices to know that my organization, NARLS, is the only agricultural research institute that have the mandate for national, for coordination of agricultural extension nationally in Nigeria. And I've been working for this organization for over a decade. I am happy to be here to be part of looking at what are the problems of knowledge management and agricultural extension generally, as well as to bring to bear the local experience from Nigeria and to see the workable or pragmatic steps that can be used to improve agricultural extension worldwide, and especially in Africa. So I want to thank all of us for being here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and a warm welcome.
So, Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning to each and everyone. Good afternoon to others. I am Mark Bapa from the Cameroon Forum of African Agricultural Advisory Services. I'm a knowledge management and communication specialist. I've been in this field for more than 6 years, and I've had the chance to work with various development organizations such as the Technical Center for Agricultural Research, Agricultural and Rural Cooperation CTA, Feed the Future, the African Development Banks. And right now I'm currently leading the development of a knowledge hub for the World Federation of Development Financing Institutions. And on the other hand as well, I'm the technical lead of the Cameroon Youth Initiative for Rural Development, who is providing support services to AFAS in setting up an e-platform that is going to unfold the upcoming African Agricultural Evaluation Week from registration to final running and reporting. So my expectation in this challenge is very broad. First of all, in the sense to really hone my skills in knowledge management, because I really learned knowledge management from, from a group, on my own and stuff like that. So I've really never had the chance to really build on what is knowledge management. So I guess it's a great opportunity. As well share my own our realities in Africa, in Cameroon specifically, as far as knowledge management is concerned, and get some very great insights and tips from the facilitators that we have here. And I believe it's going to help me as well, put it into practice on what I'm currently working on, especially in regards to the knowledge hub that I'm currently developing. So yeah, for me, that's my bits for now. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark, and a warm welcome to the challenge.
Thank you so much.
All right, next is Wale Line.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, but
Hello.
your voice is a bit faint.
Okay, thank you very
Oh.
much. My name is Andwalo Malini.
Hello, good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah, hello.
It is
Yes.
now Andualem presenting himself.
Yes, Andwalem, you can go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My
Yes.
name is Andwalo Malini. I am from Ethiopia. I am working as a senior manager for technology partnership from Digital Green Foundation, seconded for Minister of Agriculture, just supporting the Ethiopian Agricultural Extension and Advisory Service. Formerly, I just work as an ICT specialist from different projects, capacity development and support facility for agricultural growth program 2. And I'm also working as an ICT specialist for the PSNP projects. And also formerly, I just work as the network specialist from Ethio Telecom for 9 years. Now I'm working as senior manager for technology partnership. What I expect from this challenge is to know more about the knowledge management. I know knowledge is power. So I hope I just know more from your side, because you have a lot of experience. And also when we share our knowledge, I hope we reach our power. So I expect more from this challenge. I hope we'll work more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andualem. It's great to have you on board. A warm welcome. let's not only share the knowledge, but also the questions that we have, because that will trigger the learning process. Obed, a warm welcome to you.
Hello everyone. This
Hi,
is
Obed.
Obed Gangombe Zulu from Malawi Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services. I'm serving as knowledge management facilitator for Malawi. I've worked as a teacher before, and I then started working as extension officer for Malawi government, which is extension methodology section in Longwe ADT, so in the management unit there. I then joined MAFAS as a CIKM facilitator. I've worked in this field for 2 years now, and I'm interested to learn more about knowledge management from this challenge. I know that through sharing knowledge from different countries and also through acquiring expertise knowledge from the people who are going to train us in this challenge, I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm going to achieve good miles in this career. So I'm very happy. I'm expecting to learn a lot from other experiences and from also what the organizers and facilitators are organizing. So I'm very happy to join this team, and I'm eager to learn more and achieve more through amplifying the knowledge system which is here, so that we can widely reach others, as knowledge is power. So I know that this power will reach out to many. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and a warm welcome again, Obed. Elizabeth, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much. Even a sore throat could not stop me from attending. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth from Uganda. I volunteer at the Uganda Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services as the Communications, Information, and Knowledge Management Officer. By training, I'm an agriculture extensionist and also with some training in project management. The main work I do is project management largely for a project called GRED at Makerere University, the oldest university in Uganda. We train agricultural researchers on gender responsive approaches of research. To me, participating in this challenge would be a great milestone. I think I've managed some knowledge before, but by participating in this, I hope to hone my skills of knowledge management and become a better knowledge manager. When we were applying for this challenge, we filled a baseline. We had a form that we filled, and I'll be happy to fill it again after this course and see the changes that will have been made. I look forward to meeting all of you and interacting with all of you. And I also appreciate the organizing team for selecting us. This is just the beginning for networking and making agricultural development in Africa and beyond a better sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and a warm welcome again. You have realized that we have just established the Knowledge for Development Center at MOOCs?
Yes. I had that in the orientation.
Very good. Fantastic. Let us continue with our participants from CARDESA. Vida Mahava, could you say a few words? Warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Vida Mahava from Tanzania, and I work with Tanzania Agricultural Research Institution, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm the coordinator of technology transfer and partnership. In my areas of my studies, I did my first degree and my master's in agricultural education and extension. That's why I work for and I work for technology transfer and partnership. Under me, we have two sections. That is information communication knowledge management, and the other side is technology transfer and partnership. So by being in this challenge, I'm eager and very curious to know a lot about information and communication knowledge management. I know information is powerful, but normally when we work with our clients, especially farmers, our research institution, we have a lot of technologies in our institutions. Normally, in our country, we are told that most of our technologies are just kept in the books, in the shelves. And now we are, our directorate is really insisted, and they want to see a lot of technology transfer and partnership is done under the ground. So we have a challenge. We have a challenge on how to transfer the technology, on how, on different pathways. What pathways are proper? How do we do it? And why? We have a question, why? Why people see, or our clients don't see what we are doing on the ground? They say, okay, you have the technologies, but where are they? Still, we have a question. That's why that directorate is being developed or is there in our organization structure. I'm very interested also, and I'll be very happy to interact with all of you. I think a lot. Of course, the kickoff meeting was very excellent. We got a lot of information. So I'm very eager and very curious to interact with you, to share with you people in this challenge so that we make information, communication, knowledge management very visible and a potential in our countries and out our continent. Thank you very much for the organizers and our lecturers, our professors who are going to train us throughout this challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vida, and again, a warm welcome. I think the question of how to transfer the knowledge is one of the cores, and we may have to co-create the solutions. I doubt that there is one answer for all. Americo, Antonio Bumulane, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much. I am Americo from Mozambique. I work in the Center for Socioeconomic Studies in the Ministry of Agriculture. Before this position, I work as head of a department of communication in the same institution. I am excited to attend this course. I want to learn more. I want to learn about knowledge management, share my experience and get experience from the facilitators and the other participants of the program. I think this course will boost my knowledge in this topic and I can improve more. I can contribute more for my institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Americo. And it's good to have also representatives of the ministries here, because the researchers are one stakeholder of several, and it's good that we have a multi-stakeholder approach also in this challenge. Thank you and welcome. Bongani, Lucky Mvubu.
Yes,
happy
yes.
to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here too. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Warm greetings from the Kingdom of Swaziland. Yes, I'm Bongani Mvubu. As stated before, I'm from Swaziland. I work under the Ministry of Agriculture, under the Department of Agricultural Research and Specialist Services. I work as a research officer in the soil fertility agronomy. And I'm also the focal person for ICKM for CADESA in Swaziland. Well, me joining this forum, it's a great pleasure for me, as it's going to enhance or meet my expectation in regards to information, knowledge, packaging, and making it relevant for our targets. As a research officer, we generate so many technologies, activities, practices that farmers can do. But packaging them to be in a usable form, it becomes very difficult for us because we are more into the science. You find that it becomes, we use too much of the scientific jargon, which farmers and the general public don't understand much. So I'm looking forward for this challenge. It's going to enhance me as to how can I package information that it reach the end user and be more beneficial throughout the whole value chain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about your being with us and hope that we can answer all these questions together that you have raised. Fantastic. Let us move to the next person.
We have Dorcas.
Hello.
Hi, Dorcas.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Dorcas Kabuyachaba. I work for the Ministry of Agriculture. Are you able to get me?
Yes.
Yes,
oh,
we can
okay.
hear you.
All right. So I'm Dorcas Kabuyachaba. I work for the Ministry of Agriculture in Zambia. And also the focal point person for Zambia under CADESA. So basically under the department in the Ministry of Agriculture, I work under the Department of National Agriculture Information Services, which is the specialized information wing of the Ministry of Agriculture. So basically we collect information from the farmers or from the policymakers, then we package it and transmit it via various media platforms. So basically, I'm interested in this challenge because I want to learn more on what really constitutes knowledge management. I've not really had a specific training on knowledge management, so I'm really interested to know more on what really constitutes knowledge management and just to enrich my skills in knowledge management. So I'm looking forward to interact and learn more from the experts on this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dorcas, and again, a warm welcome. Good. Let us move to the next participant. Benjamin, can you help me? Who is the next? Otherwise, anybody can continue, whoever feels comfortable.
Good afternoon, may I interject? I'm Lorato under CADESA.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lorato Bailang. Information and Public Relations Officer from the Ministry of Agricultural Development and Food Security in Botswana. I'm also a national ICKM focal point person for CADESA in Botswana. So basically my job entails working with information, collecting information from the farming community, also collecting and disseminating information from research institutions and other departments within the Ministry of Agriculture to the farming community and other stakeholders through various media platforms like radio and television, but mostly I work through radio. I'm excited to be a part of this challenge because the nature of my job involves utilizing a lot of information collection and dissemination of information. So the challenge that we have here in Botswana is specialists in their different departments collect information, so it's stored in their individual computers, it's written down in papers and not really accessible to the farming community, to other stakeholders. So I'm excited to see how I can harness information, knowledge, and how to properly store it and disseminate it. So I thank you, and I'm excited to be a part of this.
Lorato, thank you very much. A warm welcome to you. And hand over to the next participants from KORAF, which are Dr. El Haji Malik Leye. Warm welcome.
So Dr. Malik. Hello. Hi, Dr. Malik. Hello.
Well, maybe he has.
Yes, maybe we'll move on to Samuel, and then when he comes back, we bring him on board. So Samuel from Burkina Faso.
Sorry, excuse me, I don't speak well English. I am Samuel from Burkina Faso. I work in the Environmental and Agricultural Research Institute. INERA is of Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research, and innovation. I am animal scientist. I am responsible of many of our institute. I'm happy to be here to learn to manage and provide information to the technology user. Sorry, thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Samuel.
J'espère vraiment que vous allez faire une traduction pour que nous, les francophones, on puisse sortir vraiment avec beaucoup de choses à travers ces séances de formation. Merci.
Merci beaucoup et bienvenue. Je pense qu'on trouvera des solutions pour la communauté francophone. We will work on a better solution for the francophone participants. A warm welcome, Bandiogo Dembele.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, according to the geographical systems.
Yeah.
My name is Bandiogo Dembele from Mali. I am a researcher from Institute of Rural Economics. I have a PhD in agricultural economics. And now we are under Ministry of Agriculture. So I have more than 15 years of experience working. Those are cited under my program here. And now, nowadays I'm working on, I am in charge of gender and agricultural assessments. A big issue is how to transfer agricultural technology developed by the Institute for Research. The big challenge is how to do it. We have developed a lot of technologies, but now the scaling up is the issues from training center, from ground to the research or rural areas, how farmer can get our technologies. So I would like to know about knowledge management in order I can improve myself and my institutions. I think this group will enhance my knowledge and also strengthen myself. Thank you so much. I appreciate a lot. And I know next time we will be in somewhere to see each other, how we can work to improve all technologies about agricultural announcements. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and again, a warm welcome to you. Abdul Malam, a warm welcome. Abdul Malam Jibrilla.
Hi, Abdul.
Welcome.
Hello, Abdul. Yeah, good. Hello, Abdul. Hello. Okay, maybe we can move to Ines, and then when we are able to get Abdul back online, then we can. So we will move to Ines of Benin.
Ines, a warm welcome.
Hi, Ines.
Is Dr. Haji Malik Leye with us? Has he returned?
Abdul, are you in? Or Dr. El Haji Malik? All right, then let's move to Marilyn. Okay. Malik?
Oui, bonjour.
Ok.
Bonjour.
Je suis obligé de parler français, je suis francophone, je ne comprends pas bien l'anglais. Et je pense que c'est un gros problème avec cette initiative. Depuis ce matin, les gens parlent anglais, moi je comprends que dalle. Je suis obligé parfois de prendre le texte, de copier sur DeepL pour comprendre. Donc c'était une parenthèse, donc moi c'est Malik Leye, comme vous l'avez effectivement noté. Donc je suis chercheur à l'ISRA d'abord. Donc, je pense c'est depuis 2010 que l'ISRA m'a recruté. Auparavant, j'étais dans une ONG. Donc, 2 ans, j'ai fait 2 ans là-bas. Donc, j'ai fait une formation en microbiologie du sol. Et également, j'ai acquis beaucoup d'expérience sur pas mal de choses, comme sur la communication, la valorisation. Ce qui vaut actuellement le fait qu'on m'a nommé depuis presque quelques mois comme directeur de l'unité d'information et de valorisation des résultats de la recherche à l'ISRA. Je pense que c'est à ce titre que je suis là devant vous à expliquer justement sur ma profession et autres là. Alors, donc, je voudrais vraiment saluer cette initiative. Donc, je pense que la gestion des connaissances est cruciale pour les institutions de recherche en Afrique, représentées justement par les différentes plateformes ici comme le CORAF. Et c'est important justement de voir comment mettre ensemble nos synergies, nos actions pour justement venir à bout de cette, comment ça s'appelle, à bout de ce défi. Alors, je voudrais peut-être rappeler une chose. Il y a quelques années, j'ai été associé à une initiative donc conduite par le FARA qui s'appelait le RAILS. Donc, à l'époque, je pense qu'ils avaient mis en place des plateformes qui permettaient à pas mal justement d'institutions donc, qui étaient représentées au niveau du FARA de pouvoir mettre en ligne leurs recherches, etc. Donc, sous forme justement de blogs, de sites Internet. Et il était dit à l'époque que cette initiative de gestion des connaissances devait durer éternellement. Malheureusement, après quelques temps, je ne vois plus la plateforme e-rail. Et je pense qu'on doit tirer des leçons par rapport à cette justement initiative mise en place par le FARA à l'époque et voir comment arriver à maintenir ces genres d'initiatives qu'on est en train justement de parler ici. Donc, je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. El Hadji Malik Leye. I am really sorry that the language barrier also affects our training here. And it is something that we really have to solve together because it characterizes the difficulties in sharing knowledge in the whole of Africa. But we will find, as you said, a solution for that if we share our knowledge and experiences. Alors, bienvenue. Shall we continue with Abdul Malam, Jibrilla, or Ines? Are you available? Abdul Malam, Jibrilla, vous êtes là? Ines? No? Okay, can we continue with Marilyn Yeboah? Can you hear us?
Marilyn initially complained of internet, but I hope she has been restored.
Okay.
Hi, Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn.
It seems we cannot hear Marilyn, and also Benjamin is very interrupted. May I ask Emmanuel Sarr Hinckley from Sierra Leone to continue?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. We can hear you.
Are you getting me? Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. I'm Emmanuel Sarr Hinckley, Assistant Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, Sierra Leone Agricultural Research Institute. As a way of background, I'm extensionist and for rural sociology. I did my first degree in agriculture general, master's in extension and rural sociology, and I'm doing my MPhil also. I've done my pre-phil and post-phil in the area of transfer of technology. I'm an assistant monitoring and evaluation officer, but I also, as this particular package you have for us as knowledge management and the challenges associated with it. From the background of a research institute, those are some of the challenges we have. We develop technologies, we look at the breeders, pathologists, entomologists, and others, soil scientists. They make a package for farmers out there. And the challenge of reaching those farmers, how the farmers actually appreciate what has been sent to them, how the feedback also to the scientists becomes a very serious challenge. Are you getting me? Are you getting me, please?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yes.
Okay. So the knowledge management in all of this is very important, and the challenges associated with it. So therefore, this particular package you have for us is very important. I hope that we'll learn more from it so that we can continue to try to implement as scientists develop their research. They develop those technologies. Yeah, are we there? Mm-hmm.
Thank you
so
very
that
much.
we actually use the best strategy to actually reach out to the farmers out there with the package we have for them. The end users is very important. Participatory evaluation is very important. So this knowledge management is of essence for all of us from the research background. Without knowledge, scientists cannot publish their papers, or sometimes they can even publish, but the technology itself, what they actually have for the farmers, becomes a challenge. So those are some of the things we have to look at very kindly, so that we can see how we can manage it, find strategies as to how we can actually give the right packages to farmers, so that the end users can benefit from whatever we are doing in the research system. Thank you. Thank you for participating.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I hear this question again and again and again. How can we hand over the knowledge to the farmers? I think that the course will give us opportunity to look at this specific challenge from a wider perspective, and maybe even think about the question itself and extend it to a wider approach. Because so many people have thought about it and still not found the solution. So maybe we have to work on the question. We will have time for that. Let us continue. Again, a warm welcome, Emmanuel. Let us now continue with either Ines or Abdul, if they are here. Or otherwise, we continue with the next participants. From
Ines is online, but I don't know why we cannot hear her.
May I now ask you to really try to stick to the 1 minute, because time is running and we still have a good number of participants who we would like to introduce and welcome. Can we continue with Francis Nguru from YPART?
Yeah.
Francis, are you here? You hear us?
Yes. Good afternoon and good evening to everyone. Yeah, my name is Francis Nguru, and I'm the technical specialist of African Inception for Agribusiness Research, and also a member of YPART Kenya. I've been in the agribusiness sector for over 9 years, carrying out research, training, coaching, and mentoring, and also audits. And a lot of times when we're training the youth in agribusiness, we need the right information to give them in order for them to make good decisions in terms of what business they're getting into, or how to structure or model their businesses. And we realized you can only go so far with the knowledge that is available if you have the right knowledge, and being able to know what is the right information or data that you can use and give them in order for them to invoke progressive change among them is what I'm here to learn about. Yeah, so thank you so much for this opportunity to join this challenge, and yeah, and also to learn from the facilitators and from our fellow participants. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Francis. Warm welcome. Paul Atsu, Agdemenia, from Ghana.
Paul Atsu. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Paul Atsu. I'm from Ghana. I'm a member of YPART as well. Over the past few years, I think about 6 years now, I have been working with the various organizations and then private organizations as well to more or less develop more of agriculture knowledge, as well as the development of skills and social enterprise development for rural youth and women as well. So for me, I have been working more like the innovative ideas, innovative skill development that's ginger the grassroots for rural women and youth, as well as working closely with Footprint Bridge International. Is a social enterprise that builds sustainable business, as well as developing entrepreneur ecosystem as well. Moreover, I also happen to be the focal lead for communication and knowledge information management for African youth in livestock, fishery, and then aquaculture incubation network, a project under AUIBA as well. So I have intensively been working in the ground to see how we can be able to transform indigenous knowledge by scaling up some of those knowledge, and also make sure that we aggregate and then disseminate some of those knowledge, which is useful for our community for progress in the agribusiness incubation model, and to continue to make sure that agriculture makes it sexy and attractive to rural youth and women. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. This is also a
and
very...
then also, I think, I think currently I'm also studying as well I'm studying on organizational development. So I hope that this knowledge will also equip me to be able to have more of that as well.
I hope so too. We build on your writing skills, because we want to produce a number of knowledge products and some. So again, a warm welcome. Let us continue with Eric Nunda.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Nunda from DRC.
I encourage in principle everyone to share
the Young Exchange Agent at African Union in DRC. And for now, I'm a monitoring and evaluation coordinator in the Tilapia Cage Pilots project in DRC. And I participated in the capacity development of youth in agripreneurship for technology adoption in Africa at FARA. And for now, I'm a technical advisor in agriculture and the environment field. And for my studies, I'm an agronomist in the department of crop production. And I'm so happy to be a part of this challenge. And I hope to be an expert in knowledge management. Thank you.
Thank you, definitely you will. And I think you are already. Sinabu Abdullahi, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
And good evening as well. Okay, I'm Zainab Abdullahi. I'm a trained agricultural extensionist from the University of Ghana. I did my first degree also in agricultural extension from the University of Cape Coast. I've been with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture Ghana for over a decade, where I served several roles as a Management Information System Officer. I've also worked as the Women in Agricultural Development Officer, and I currently work as the Municipal Extension Officer, where I work closely with farmers, shaping their knowledge, their attitudes when it comes to innovation, dissemination, and technology dissemination. So when I received the call that I have gone through the process and I've been asked to join this challenge, I was highly elated. I was very happy in the sense that it has been a long-term vision to develop my career in the area of knowledge management. So this challenge comes in hand at the right time, and I believe I will do the proper network. I'll also learn from my colleagues. I also share my expertise and my experience, and then also help to come up with a good, come up with all the critical issues in terms of knowledge dissemination and management. My expectation, first and foremost, is looking at the critical aspect of indigenous knowledge and artificial intelligence. How best can we harness this when it comes to knowledge management? Because over the years, we have worked with farmers, we have shared knowledge, we have shared information. But my concern is a farmer has been trained, has been educated, has been taken through all the processes, given the right methodology, approaches, and models in agricultural extension. But the farmer adopts the innovation or accepts the knowledge. He or she uses it for a day, maybe a year or two, and that ends it. Though the question I'm asking here is, how best, what are the issues, what are the strategies to adopt, what are the approaches to engage the farmer in a long-term process? We don't want a situation where we just share information, the farmer adopts, and then that is the end, the next moment. So what are the critical issues in there? And then I'm also the founder of AgroCare 360, a social development enterprise. We're looking at training farmers, developing agricultural value chain concepts, and then we also do youth development advocacy programs as well. So basically, I'm here to learn from my colleagues, network, share my experience. Thank you.
Excellent, Sinabu. Very well received and most welcome.
Thank you.
Let us continue to Malala. You're most welcome from Madagascar.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the floor. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Malal. I'm from Madagascar. I am a member of YPARD here in Madagascar, and I am the country representative of YPARD. So also, I am a member of an association called Farming and Technology for Agriculture, who worked on the promotion and the awareness of agricultural activities to the rural and urban young people here in Madagascar. Also, I'm a PhD student, and I am at the last year of my PhD at the University of Antananarivo, and my PhD is on the environmental economics. So my expectation for this session is to improve my skills on knowledge management and the why to become an expert on knowledge management. So thank you very much to giving me this great opportunity, and I am very happy to be part of this great team. Sure.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Yes.
We look forward to this collaboration with you and all of us together. And I would now like to hand over to Eric Mavaruganda. Eric, a warm welcome.
Hello, Eric.
Eric, can you hear
Eric
us?
of Burundi. There are about 3 Erics in this program. We have Eric from Burundi.
RDC. Eric from RDC, c'est pas Eric.
Is Eric from Burundi here?
Well, I would say we continue with the next person.
Yes.
Anderayev Waldo.
Waldo.
Can you hear us? Are you with us? A warm welcome.
Hello, Waldo.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Is it your turn?
We can hear you. Warm welcome.
Thank you very much. I will join you on the audio channel just to keep my voice audible for you, not to drag my internet down.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Good. Good. This is Adarajo Waldu from Ethiopia. I'm a country representative for WIPER. And by profession, early on my career, I studied rural development and later on agricultural information and communication management, which is specifically focused on utilizing ICT for agricultural systems and designing agricultural and information management systems. Then I've been in this career for about 8 to 10 years, starting from as a graduate assistant professor at Harma University and later on engaged in private businesses and as a consultant for different organizations. And so far, I have been engaged in many knowledge management platforms, most specifically designing and developing such platforms for agricultural institutions, organizations, NGOs, and academic institutions like technical and vocational schools. So, so far I have been into this, and my expectation in this challenge is to learn from other countries' experiences, especially where the government is the major knowledge generator and actors are seeking for information and trying to dispatch those knowledge and informations down to the farmers. That's my expectation, and thank you for joining you. And I think I will learn a lot from you guys. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Waldo, and a warm welcome again. Can I hand over to Charles Mazereka?
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Charles Maseka from Uganda, WIPER. I'm so glad to be part of this session as well and the challenge. I am the communications focal person for WIPER Uganda, and I'm a farmer, but professionally, I'm an accountant serving with a bank in Uganda. But I'm so passionate about farming and agriculture, and that's one thing I like most. Every time I'm introducing myself, I normally start with farmer because that's what I'm passionate about. I run an online YouTube channel called Farm Digital TV, and it's this channel that I use to do the knowledge and information dissemination to the farmers. Especially now that much of our time has been, the country has been in lockdown, so I've been using the channel to see that information smoothly flows to the farmers through the channel and ensuring that we are all on the same line and moving together. I'm also a writer. I write a lot on climate change, environmental protection, agriculture, and the youth empowerment. I do that on a number of blogs in the country. So with the KM challenge, this is an opportunity for me now to grow and advance my knowledge in knowledge dissemination and farm information management. I really so much appreciate, and thank you so much, people.
Thank you very much, Charles. And maybe you can specifically write something like a knowledge poem. That would be amazing. By the way, we have engaged a Ugandan poet to write a knowledge poem. I will share it with the community.
Good. That would be glad. That would be so great.
We also welcome from Uganda, Victoria and Bigide from the Naro. Welcome, Victoria.
Hello, Victoria.
Hi, Benjamin.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Uganda. I'm Victoria Mbigide. I work with the National Agriculture Research Organization as the Knowledge Management Officer. I've been in this position since 2014. My training, my first degree is in development studies, and my second degree is in agricultural information and communication management. Honestly speaking, being part of this challenge is like a dream come true. So in NARO, what we do basically, NARO is mandated to conduct agricultural research for the country at the national level, and I kept seeing researchers belonging to these networks and groups, and I felt orphaned, and I kept hoping to belong to a network of knowledge managers one day. So during the kickoff meeting, I was like, wow, it's finally happening, you know. I'm so excited about this whole challenge and training, and I hope to learn a lot of things, including how to harness tacit knowledge. We find that as we conduct research, a lot of knowledge is generated, but we don't capture most of it. That has been a very big challenge for NARO. So I hope that during this training and this challenge, I'll be able to learn on a lot on how to capture tacit knowledge, and also how best to share the explicit, and also developing a knowledge culture, incorporating knowledge management in the workflows and work processes, you know, just having knowledge management as part and parcel of the entire organization or the NARO's, you know, workflows, so that it just comes, you know, naturally. Yeah, so I'm so happy, and I look forward to learning. I'm excited to be a part of this amazing network. Yeah, I look forward to learning a lot. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Great. We all look forward to working with you as well, knowing that you have, of course, a lot of experience already. Let us now go to the next participant,
Eric
Terver.
The third Eric.
A warm welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Abraham. Benjamin, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Eric. Please go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Eric from Wiper, Nigeria. I'm so happy to be here. My motivation for being here is how I would utilize this whole experience in this knowledge management challenge to document our knowledge and experience as Wiper members, and how we can use that knowledge to influence policy making in Nigeria. So what I hope to gain from this challenge is new ways to document knowledge, and how to use this knowledge to influence policy and advocacy research through research papers and through advocacy and policy briefs to the government and to other development actors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and again a warm welcome. So, by the way, I have realized that Ines is now here, and I hope she can now say a few words. Ines, I see you talking and eating, by the way. But she may not hear us. Okay, then let us continue with Fidel Hazel Arung.
Hello everyone.
Hi,
So my name is Fidel Hazel from Kenya. I'm the country rep for WIPAD Kenya. And besides belonging to WIPAD, I'm also a member of the cabinet network that is seconded to the AU for the implementation of the CADIP agenda that's by the youth. Also, I'm a member of the Global Youth Biodiversity Network. Professionally, I'm currently an information management professional with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. And basically what we do, we conduct a lot of researches, develop a lot of informational database and products basically. So given that as part of this challenge, actually, the first question that comes to my mind, there are two words here that we have in like we have knowledge managers and we have information managers. So at the end of the day, like are these two kind of the same thing, or there's a line that can be the two? Or at what point does somebody come, or like from the information management to knowledge management? I think that is one question that I really love to know, because majority of the participants are either knowledge managers or information managers, or it's just one and the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Fidel. This is certainly a good question that we should answer even today. I hope that Ines can still hear us. Ines Davakan. Ines, do you hear us? Ines Davakan.
I don't know what is happening. Yeah.
Enjoying lunch.
Maybe.
And we'll give her an opportunity as soon as possible, of course. But for now, I would say, do we have anybody else? Like Eric?
I don't know if Abdul Malam is now back from Niger.
Eric and Abdul are not yet here. Okay, good. So let us come to an end, and I would like to also introduce only with a few words that
I think Ines is also back. I don't know if she wants to. Please unmute yourself, Ines. You are muted. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, I think now, but we cannot hear you. Maybe you can remove the earpiece and see whether you can speak directly to the computer or phone. Let's disconnect the earpiece and let's see. Hello? Okay, maybe you can sort that out. Anytime your voice comes up, we'll let you know. So Dr. Andres, back to you. Yes. But you can hear us. I think she can hear us, except that we cannot hear her.
I'm not sure if she's talking with us. However, let us also welcome the other faculty or support team on our side. Andre Razo, of course, is here with us as the knowledge manager at AFAS. A warm welcome, Andre. I would also like to introduce Charles Dewa, who is a speaker the next days with a specific background in agricultural knowledge management and the winner of the Knowledge Management Award 2019 and CEO of Knowledge Transfer Africa. I would also like to introduce Yuki Liu and Tony Shuai, who are interns at K4DP and support the implementation of the challenge on our side organizationally. It's just that you know about them. They will not participate fully, but support and be available in case of any need. Good, then I think that we should now think about a short break of, if you agree, not more than about 15 minutes. That would mean that we continue at, well, depending on the time zone, 5 minutes to 1 Ghana time. Please take a short rest, load your computers or whatever you need, and let us return in 15 minutes already. The introduction took us a bit more time than probably planned, but I think it was useful and relevant. I'm happy that we did that. And then we make a short introduction to knowledge management concepts before welcoming Helen Gilman and Michael Victor, the knowledge managers of IFAT and ILRI. So please, thank you for joining this very first session and for your introduction. The strong interest and passion that you have really encouraged me for this session, and we will have a lot of fun together. Please, let's return in 15 minutes and see you then, let us say 2 minutes to 1 Ghana time.
And please, you don't need to sign out. You can just leave your computer. And maybe as we step out, Andre Russell, if he's there, he might just want to let the AFAS network hear his voice. Whilst we are moving out.
Andre, a short message, welcome message. Are you here? Oh,
yeah, he's here.
Yeah. Oh, you all, yes.
Good.
I've been following, multitasking a little bit. I've been following the introduction. Very interesting profiles here. I heard some very good points from the participants, and I think this will be a very passionate journey, this KM4AD challenge. I will try to participate as much as possible, but of course, as I said, I will be multitasking. So yeah, nice to be also participating in this, and I'll encourage all the participants to follow everything. You have very high profile panelists and facilitators here. I met some of them, maybe most of them in different countries, and I think that it's a very big privilege to hear from them. Actually, maybe virtually, but at least the content, the message will be always the same. So enjoy this journey.
Thank you very much for your words, Andre. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the break, and let's then continue in 15 minutes at exactly 1 p.m.
Okay.
Ghana time. Thank you. See you then.
See you. So whilst you're on break, we'll be playing some videos that probably you might be interested. So those of us who want to be on full-time break, those who want to be part-time break, we'll keep the page a bit busy for you. And then when we return, we would also introduce a few people that maybe they have joined just to observe what is going on. so that you also know that there are many more hands, many more people that are with us, even though not as trainers or as facilitators. So for those of us who are not on break, probably just to let you know that I can see the compliance office manager for FARA, Mrs. Vesta Nunu. Vesta is a very passionate person of knowledge management, so I can imagine why she's decided to join us. So Vesta, we welcome you. And
thank you, Ben. I'm here.
Good. Do you have any words? I'm sure some of the participants are still, even though they are on break, they are still, their computers are on and they may be hearing you. So if you have any few words for us, you are most welcome.
Oh, Ben, I'm just enjoying it. I just want to listen and learn and be part of it. So thank you very much.
If you receive regular information or advice from a consultant or from a trainer or from other external people, then this knowledge is critical, but it does not belong to the organization. It's not inside the organization, it is outside. And only through a good relationship you can have access to these knowledge resources, and you have to manage this access just as much as you manage the internal resources of your organization. So let us keep these three categories in mind when we talk about knowledge management. Now let me continue with another very important concept. I will jump over this. This is the steps to competitiveness, as I mentioned it. And it says that our steps to achieve competitiveness is based on symbols and data, the very numeric bits of information. This is then put into the human context and thinking of a person and added with skills and motivation. It can create action, then hopefully the action creates value. And if the competence that we avail to our customers finally is unique, it's better than the one of our competitors, then we have achieved what we maybe want to achieve, competitiveness on the market or the achievement of an impact to our customers. And knowledge management, and this is a very important definition which we have to use together. It says that knowledge management is a targeted, integrated, and systematic approach to knowledge. And this means that whatever we do in knowledge management, we have to think about what do we achieve, what do we want to impact with our activities. And then we should be aware that there are so many activities in relationship to knowledge. For instance, the production of knowledge and the capturing and the sharing and the explicit knowledge and the tacit knowledge. All of this is relevant, but if it is not integrated, then it will not achieve the impact desired. And then it's also systematic, because the several elements require a process. You need to plan, to do, to then evaluate and learn. And this has to be in a systematic cycle and approach. So only if we follow a targeted, systematic and integrated approach to the specific processes like identifying or searching, finding, acquiring, creating, sharing, applying and capturing knowledge, then we can speak of knowledge management. And of course, always keep in mind what is the relevant objectives that we want to achieve through knowledge management. This is what we will address in the later afternoon. Now, A lot is already done to acquire and share knowledge. But let us say that knowledge management is the systematic, targeted, and integrated. This is just a visualization of what I have just mentioned as a discipline, as a definition. It says we need to define our goals, then implement activities for finding, acquiring, creating, sharing, applying, and capturing knowledge in a systematic way that allows us to assess our progress with indicators and measurements. And based on the measurements and the achievements, then to reflect, have we achieved our goals and how can we now perform better? All of this requires organization and linkages of knowledge so that the dots are connected. And it is one of the key responsibilities of knowledge managers to make sure that all these components fit together. Because if I capture knowledge in such a way that others cannot find it, then it is almost lost. Imagine I have a book, but I keep it in my own shelf, then nobody can use it. Or I capture an article on my server, but there is no meta information and there is no access by the others. Then nobody can find it, use it, share it. And that's saying that we should be aware that many, if not most of the deficits in practical doing is not that we would not have a knowledge goal or that we would not capture something, but it is one of the key problems that all of this is not integrated and systematic. And one of the core reasons for that is because nobody is really responsible for it and does not have the time and resources to do it. So we need to take knowledge management serious as an integrated approach that requires resources and commitment for its implementation. And let me now also jump over another number of slides to introduce to you and start with you discussing the say, basic concept in knowledge management, which we will use for the next sessions as a fundament. And let me go directly to the knowledge management for developed framework, which has been developed and even documented in the Continental Data Capture Strategy, which is available on the folder. It has been authored by Benjamin Abugri and myself this year, and we will use it as a knowledge management framework for agricultural development. And I would like to explain you how this model is structured, because we need a model in order to create a systematic, targeted, and integrated approach. And as I mentioned, all activities in knowledge management require a purpose. This is not just for fun. This is for a specific purpose. And let us assume that sustainable development is our purpose. Sustainable development specifically in the area of agriculture. Agricultural development is probably a joint objective of all of us. And through agricultural development, we want to achieve the sustainable development goals, to reduce poverty, to eliminate hunger, and much more. So we may have joint objectives on the agricultural and global level. But let's be serious and let's be also realistic that each of us has organizational goals as well. This means financial goals, this means specific goals related to your mandate as a ministry, as a pharma, as a scientific organization. So the scientific bodies, they want to produce scientific output because that makes them successful. Ministries probably want to regulate and structure a sector to be more inclusive or to be more productive. And also usually, let's say, public administration has to fulfill public and legal requirements and deliver good services to the customers. So these are the objectives, the outcome objectives of our organizations. And depending on the organization, we deliver different services and products. As a research organization, I am researching. As a training institution, I am providing trainings. As a regional body, I will probably advise politicians, or I will convene events. As AFAS, I will probably try to communicate knowledge to the farmers, and so on and so on. We all have our services that we want to deliver. As a farmer, maybe I want to produce specific crops, or I want to produce bananas, I want to produce any agricultural product. But of course, also our knowledge organizations like academia, like the extension officers, we also have knowledge products, like publications, extension resources, policy briefs, and so on. This is what we deliver to our customers. But these services and products, which are delivered in our business processes, they require knowledge resources, or knowledge assets, as we say. In order to do a good research, we need experienced scientists, or as an extension officer or extension organization, we need good advisors that understand the needs of the farmers, etc. So we need human assets, but we also need these structural assets, as I have pointed out, like the information that we want to hand over, the databases, the processes, the consulting instruments. And of course, we need relationship assets to deliver good services, because without a good network, without communities, without partnerships, we probably cannot provide services. So these knowledge assets are critical in order to perform well and achieve impact. However, these knowledge assets, they don't appear just like this. And if we don't maintain them, they will disappear. So we need to continuously build our knowledge management approaches on the knowledge life cycle, which I have mentioned. Finding, acquiring, creating, sharing, using, capturing knowledge are typical knowledge processes in the knowledge life cycle, which we need to be knowledgeable people, have good instruments and strong relationships to produce good services and products. So we call all of this the value chain of knowledge management. We implement measures for finding, acquiring, creating, sharing, using, capturing in order to be knowledgeable. That helps to produce good services and to achieve the impact that we desire. Of course, this value chain has to be led and managed, and that requires on the top knowledge leadership. We need managers who say, this knowledge is critical. These processes and procedures need to be established. We need a governance model that clarifies the roles and responsibilities of the people, of our staff, starting from the top management to the knowledge managers and including all knowledge workers in the organization. Without a good governance model, we are lost. Imagine a project, only a project, that does not have a project manager. Do you think it will succeed? Without goals, responsibilities, can a project be a success? Any comment?
It can't.
Has anybody seen a successful project? It can't. Really, it can't. But now, a project will fail. How much more will agricultural knowledge management in Africa fail without clear roles and responsibilities, without clear objectives, without dedicated people and processes? There is no way that this will succeed. Even the project will not succeed if we cannot regularly monitor our progress. If we wait until the end of the project and then evaluate the success, we will realize that we did not achieve our goal, but then it's too late. We need to monitor on a regular basis our progress in knowledge management in order to take corrective action, in order to be adaptive, in order to learn from mistakes or learn from the successes of others. And I tell you, this monitoring and learning and adopting, it does not happen on its own. It has to be implemented as a process in our operations. This whole concept of knowledge management is complex. It requires serious decisions and resources in all of its components, and it needs to be aligned. If we lack in one of these categories, already we might fail. Let's just use the example of, we think that everything is in the structural assets, the databases and processes. But then we are forgetting about the people. And then one expert leaves the organization. All of a sudden, we cannot perform anymore. Or let's say we forget about the sharing. We create knowledge, we produce scientific articles, but the sharing, we are not good. Everything that we do will be useless. So every single component in our model is a must for our performance. And let me say that I think that the lack of integration, the lack of an integrated, targeted and systematic approach is one of the key sources for failure. And I would really like you to take this serious and start today, not tomorrow, today, to work on a systematic and integrated approach for knowledge management in your organizations and together as a team for the agricultural sector in Africa. You should be able, at the end of this course, to have an answer to all of these questions. And you should have a good feeling that all of these things fit together well. And wherever you have a concern, you should have an idea how to improve it and how to further advance your concept. Then, after a certain time, step by step, you will achieve the full concepts in knowledge management, and then everything will work smoothly to your satisfaction. Let me select from all of these slides that unfortunately we cannot touch all of them right now, to say that the ACOSOMBO integration agenda that has been mentioned by Benjamin and by the executive director of FARA is exactly about these topics in our concept. We cannot afford to have in Africa completely different approaches to knowledge management. One says this is about information management, the other says it's about only learning and creativity, the third says this is about indicators. Will not work. We need to understand this is an integrated approach where all of these components are important. We need to align our tools, like the structure capital, so that they are consistent. We need to create joint resources so that we can share our resources, knowledge products and services. We need to align our knowledge processes like capturing and sharing. We need to establish the collaboration infrastructures like communities. We need to train each other in an integrated way, and this challenge is the starting point for it. And we need to take joint responsibility for the continental knowledge ecosystem, because everything is related to each other, and we need to identify the linkages between the dots so that the silo thinking will end and we collaborate together in an integrated way. ACOSOMBO, by the way, is a small village about 2 hours from Accra. It's a place in Ghana where we have developed this concept. The other slides of my introduction will be postponed to tomorrow. So at the beginning of our session tomorrow at 11 Ghana time, I will introduce the other concepts that are in this presentation. And I would kindly ask you to have a look at the video if you have not yet looked at it. So this is my very short introduction, and we now welcome Helen Gilman and let me see if he's here. Michael Victor, yes, they are, at least Michael I can see. Is Helen also here? Helen. I cannot see Helen.
Don't see her yet.
Yet, but I'm sure she will come any second. So let me first use the opportunity to introduce Michael Victor to you. Michael Victor is a knowledge manager at ILRI. His former position is Head of Communication and Knowledge Management at ILRI, the International Livestock Research Institutes. He has more than 20 years of experience working in the field of knowledge management, communication and knowledge management at local, national, and global level in various programs for research and development. In 2019, ILRI has received the Knowledge Management Award. So he is an award winner, I could say. And together with Helen, who is the former knowledge management officer at IFAD, he will now introduce to the concepts, to the idea of linking organizational strategies with knowledge management strategies. I would say I will introduce Helen when she's here. But also Helen is an award winner because Helen has, or IFAD has won the Knowledge Management Award in 2018. So we are in very good company today. I'm really happy to have you, Michael, with us. And probably while you start, I will call Helen and check what is happening to her. Okay. Let me hand over to Michael.
Sorry, but I'm here.
Helen is here.
Yeah, so I had, of course, right at the last minute, one has trouble getting in. I'm sorry about
well, just in time, no problem.
No, please accept my apologies.
No problem at all. So I'm happy to introduce Helen as well. Helen Gilman has been she has provided me such a nice introduction. Yeah, Helen is of course a senior knowledge management specialist, or has been a senior knowledge management specialist at IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, having retired this March. So having more than 15 years in knowledge management and 13 years of experience in international development, a lot of it in agricultural development. So her experience is really outstanding, and I'm very happy to have you all here. As I just mentioned in my introduction, knowledge management has to follow a strategic, integrated and targeted approach. That requires that we really understand what is the objective of the organization, what are the strategic goals of our current managers, because if you cannot link knowledge management with what the managers consider relevant, they will not take knowledge management serious. So if you ask your managers, what are your 3, 4, 5 most important objectives for the next years, and you don't know how to link knowledge management with it, you already have lost. Ask them, what are the key strategic objectives? And then think about how can we link it with the strategic goals. Without the support of your managers, you cannot implement knowledge management. You will not succeed. So Michael and Helen have succeeded to establish very comprehensive knowledge management concepts for very significant big organizations. They were successful in mobilizing resources. They were successful in getting the commitment of the top management. How did that work? How did you do that? We really look forward to your input and to an intensive discussion with you. You have prepared a very interactive session for us. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Andreas. We have a couple of slides just to sort of get started. Yes, thank you for the very kind introduction. I also will say that on behalf of Michael. In our presentations or in this session, we want to get across, in addition to your very important points about the need to be very strategic and to build really strong relationships with both management and staff, we also understand KM in organizations to be very context specific. It can be very context specific. So it's really crucial to understand your organization, its knowledge needs, its knowledge management needs, in order to be able to understand what's appropriate. And, you know, that takes a lot of consultation. And I think in both of our cases, we did that. And because the solutions are not always going to be the the same for every organization. And additionally, they're not always going to be the same in the same organization. They'll change. And I think you'll see that, that in our brief presentations, because we want this session to also be participatory and for you all to have a chance to say something and discuss. So solutions and approaches may need to be adapted over time, even within organizations. So what we want to do is outline a little bit our contexts, talk a little bit about the knowledge challenges that we identified, what we actually did in our organization, some of the solutions we came up with, and some of our insights and lessons. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So this is the outline. We're going to go straight into breakout groups for about 15 minutes. I'll hand over to Michael in a second, and he will give you the questions and explain how we'll do that. Then we will come back. Michael will briefly get some feedback, ask for some feedback. Then we'll make our presentations 10 minutes each. We'll try to keep them limited. Then we're going to do a chat fall. I don't know how many of you know about chat falls, but they're fantastic. It's like a wave of comments coming at you in the chat on Zoom. Michael will also take you through what you need to do. We'll have a brief discussion about your answers, then we'll go back into breakout groups, and then we'll wrap up. So as you can see, we want it to be as participatory as possible. So I'd like to hand over to Michael now to talk about what we'll do in the breakout groups. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellen. So we have we basically have two simple questions. We're going to break into about 6 groups, hopefully. And I've created a Google Doc or a PowerPoint doc, slide deck. So everyone, slides 3 through 8, you should be able to go to. And if you're in group 1, go to working group 1, slide 3. And for working group 2, you go to slide 4 and so forth. The first thing I'd like you to do is to make sure that you're that you kind of identify a documenter who's going to take notes and put it onto the working group, onto the slide. I also suggest that everyone, when you're in a working group, turn on your cameras so everyone can see your face. You can really have a conversation. This is really an opportunity for you to start your conversations off and discuss. So don't close your. It's good to have your camera on for that. Again, we have 2 simple questions. What are your organization's key KM challenges? And what have you done to address these challenges? So we really leave it up to you to have a kind of wide-ranging discussion, really focus on what you're doing. And here the purpose is to really identify KM challenges and link to your organizational mandate. So really starting to think how you're going to put KM into practice. So with that, and again, if everyone can open the document, because sometimes in the chat you lose the stream. So just click on in the chat, I have put the document, the Google Doc. So just click on that and you can go to it. And this is a really nice, easy way for us to document as we go and to keep all the information. We don't have flip chart paper anymore. So this is kind of the virtual flip chart paper. So with that, I'll hand it over to our ICT group I think it's to Francis, to throw us into groups for about 12 minutes, I think is good, yeah?
Francis?
6 groups, I think would be perfect.
Benjamin has the host right, so he will be doing that. Hello, Benjamin.
Francis, are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm here. So we have 6 groups, 6 rooms. I'm just doing that. And is there any defined criteria on which who goes to which group? So that else we just assign manually.
Yeah, just assign, just automatically. I'm happy to, it's just, it's just to have a brainstorm. It doesn't have to, it can be random. So just have it be done automatically and groups of 6 and just make sure that there's 5 or 6 people. I could, if someone gave me hosting rights, I could do it.
Yes, that has been done. So
Okay.
I'm just opening the rooms now.
Great.
6, yeah.
Okay, let's go.
So I think for group 1, yeah, I think we are all there now. So hopefully if the facilitators also happen to converge in one group, because I did it automatically, you can come out of the group and join another group. Okay, and I think 777027. Please, can you rename yourself so that we can recognize you accordingly?
Oh, hi, everybody. Welcome back. A lot of rich stuff seems to have happened. Just really quickly in the chat, if everybody could just put down what was the most common challenge that you saw in your groups? What came out quite a bit? So just type down your own thought, your own idea, and I'll give you 15 seconds and then we'll press return. Okay, yeah, you can now put them in. Translation was big, yeah. Lack of access, technology, limited resources, yeah. Lack of motivation, excellent, really interesting. Yeah, engaging farmers, bottom up, human capacity, excellent. And really quickly, did anyone, we talked a lot about challenges and it's always easy to talk about challenges, but did anyone come up with a nice response? What was the response to, to address these challenges? So did anyone come up with like an interesting response or a way to, what was a nice response or a nice way to address these challenges? It'll be interesting. Let's see, was there any good, interesting, innovative ways to address these challenges? In our group, someone mentioned they have a lack of resources, so they partner up. I thought that was a really smart way to do it. Use of peer-to-peer learning, experience capitalization. Yeah, attend every opportunity. Use knowledge brokers. Excellent. Yeah, so again, I think there's a lot of great experience in this room, as we already see. Knowledge sharing, great. Excellent. Awareness creation, partnerships, great. Okay, excellent. Helen, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Michael. Andreas, would you be able to share your screen with my first slide, please? It's designing a fit for purpose KM strategy. Thanks. The next slide. Yes, thank you very much. Hi again, everyone. That was really interesting. I'm actually going to talk about designing a knowledge management strategy for a large international development organization. I'm talking about it from the corporate strategic point of view, but just listening to what people were saying in the group that I was in, it's true that grassroots KM is in our business really fundamental. And I think while I'm talking about the higher level sort of corporate framework for knowledge management, these are really significant issues that need to be taken into account in our business. So I'm not excluding consideration of these sort of more bottom-up grassroots issues. They're part of the same picture. Yeah, so in 2018, my organization and that I worked for, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, I'm sure many of you know it, was on the verge of really significant organizational change. And that was characterized by very rapid decentralization and restructuring. And also the organization was really, like development organizations overall now, was really pushing for a stronger culture of results. And at the same time, we were tasked to develop a new KM strategy. And ultimately what we wanted to achieve was a strategy and implementation plan, getting back to what we were saying before, that were realistic, integrated and doable in our organizational context. So we worked as a team to design and sort of follow a really highly consultative, inclusive process that led us 1 year later to the approval of a strategy by our executive board that was widely supported by managers and staff. There are a few features of our formulation process that are worth noting. As I said, we consulted extensively at all levels. We did a very detailed situation analysis so that we could learn from what we had been doing and we're currently doing. We were very opportunistic. This was in terms of linking the strategy's development to organizational goals. We made sure that the strategy addressed the challenges that were being identified and were emerging from the reform process. And we actually engaged very directly with the organizational reform team throughout the process. We also, during the process, kept in very close contact with senior management and also with our executive board, because our strategies are always approved by our executive board. We weren't, a really important thing was that we weren't over ambitious. We tried to make the strategy as user-friendly as possible, and we kept the action plan relatively, but realistically budget neutral, which was a big winner with management, obviously. So yeah, sure, it's a buzz term, but we do describe the strategy as fit for purpose. Because it reflects ultimately what staff and management agreed were important and doable at the time. And another thing that we did that we found it successful was that we developed the full package right from the outset. That included the strategy with a theory of change, the action plan. It was a 3-year action plan, and a results framework so that we could monitor progress. And the results framework included new and existing indicators from the organisation's monitoring system, because we had been working over some years to develop KM-related indicators. Thanks. This is a slide. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to sort of indicate that we had a timeline with many different activities, overlapping activities ongoing during the consultative process. Yeah, as I said, we consulted really systematically and extensively in order to identify the gaps and the challenges that needed to be addressed. And just to note, I mean, this is you can sort of see here that there's quite a lot of activities. I'll mention those in a moment. But just to note that we weren't starting from scratch, and I think you'll also see this in Michael's presentation. We were building on a lot of experience and a lot of activities that had been ongoing since 2008. So over the previous 10 years, we'd had a KM strategy since 2008. And this enabled the organisation to put really solid foundations in place. So we really did have a lot to build on. That strategy was actually a very good strategy. It was broad, flexible, practical, and it opened up opportunities for staff to experiment and learn about KM. Because it was so flexible, people didn't feel pressured by having to report on what they were doing, which was good and bad in a development organisation. But what it meant was that they were, as I said, were able to experiment, and it generated a lot of interest in KM among staff. And it also created a lot of goodwill that we then were able to build on. But because it's sort of on the less than positive, but not positive side, because it was so flexible, the strategy led in the organisation to what we often described as a 1,000 flowers bloom approach, which meant that a lot of things were happening all over the place. But there was significant variability in quality, and initiatives were often driven by committed individuals, which is a good thing in itself, but they weren't necessarily really connected into an overall coherent corporate approach, again, linked to corporate objectives. And this meant that it hampered efforts somewhat to fully embed KM across the organisation. And it made some really fantastic initiatives driven by enthusiastic individuals. It made them sort of fragile because they were then subject to shifting priorities, changing management, etc. Although that can often be the case with KM, in this case it was really a fragile situation. So in developing the new strategy, we hope to address some of these issues. So in terms of the process that you can see there, we had a kickoff workshop with about 40 key staff, in which we developed a KM maturity model. We involved about 100 people in semi-structured interviews and other forms of face-to-face consultation. We did an organisational network analysis, which was really relevant at that time, especially because of the rapid decentralisation of IFAD and outposting of many staff, because we wanted to understand knowledge flows and the vulnerabilities that may have needed to be addressed as people were outposted. We also did an analysis of how to better use staff tacit knowledge in business processes, which was very interesting. And we later used that to build a justification for introducing communities of practice as a way of working in IFAD. We also looked at good practice and lessons in other organisations. I'll always do that. I think it's really a fantastic way to learn. We used a participatory approach to develop the theory of change in the action plan and the results framework. And then we sent it out for a peer review of an early draft by experts in other organisations to get feedback and sort of some peer learning. Next slide, please. We then analysed all of that information and to identify the main challenges to be addressed by the strategy, and they largely fell into these 3 areas. You can see them here. I won't read them out. Interestingly, and I think this is often going to be the case in organisations, these challenges were not very different to the challenges that were identified in preparation of the first strategy 10 years earlier, and they may well be the same still in another 10 years when they develop another KM strategy. Could we have the next slide, please? So what we did, Andreas, yeah, thanks. What we did, I mean, you can basically see we sort of flipped those challenges into principal action areas for the theory of change and obviously for the action plan. Those areas like setting a strategic knowledge agenda, I mean, that's very clearly related to the organizational objectives, the organization's strategic framework. In fact, that was a really important area. Improving access to what we know, that was a constant issue raised by people during the consultations. How do we even know what we know and where is it? That's, I think, a big challenge for many organizations. Incentives are always going to be a big challenge. Capacities to implement knowledge management, the courage to learn from failure. These are all things that are covered in the action plan. Yeah, I think that's, yes, we fleshed it. Basically, we used this to flesh out the action plan, as I said. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Just some of the insights that I'd like to share just very briefly that I took away from that process. Consulting, listening, and being responsive to people at all levels of the organisation. It was really worth the time and effort because it was critical in us being able to build support and ownership of the strategy and action plan. As we've discussed throughout this session, aligning the strategy with management and executive board priorities, and thus, in our case, with the organisational reform process, gave it weight and credibility. They came to see it as really relevant to organisational objectives because of that. We had a really strong champion of KM in senior management, and if you have that, it's like precious. It was a huge advantage because we had his support. He had vision, he had clout, and he had a really good knowledge of KM as a discipline. So if that's not immediately obvious who that person can be, I think you really need to cultivate them at the higher levels of the organisation. It was a lot of work, but it was fundamentally important in my organisational context where we have such a strong focus on results and impact to develop that full package, develop the strategy, the theory of change, the action plan, and the results framework together. It would have taken probably another 2 years to do it, otherwise to get an action plan and results framework done. We also integrated existing activities into the action plan and ensured that any new activities were not imposed, but were agreed with those who would be tasked to implement them before. And this required, again, a lot of discussion and negotiation, consultation. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen. I think the plan is now to also hand over to Michael and get his experience as well, or shall we make a short?
I think the best thing to do is to, if there are questions at this stage, to put them into the chat, and Helen can answer those. in the chat and or later on after, and then we'll have a kind of a wrap-up session to get some thoughts and everything. So can everyone see my?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I'm just going to put this on full screen. So can everyone see that now, full screen?
Perfect.
Great. Thanks, everybody. So yeah, I mean, some really interesting conversations that we had as well in the working breakout groups. And as like Helen said, I'm going to be presenting a bit on the organizational side, and I hope some of the tips can be applied at the local level as well. But we are talking about organizations, so kind of thinking about that this from an organizational level. As Andreas did mention, along with Charles in 2019, my organization won the Knowledge Management Award, International Knowledge Management Award. I guess I was the beneficiary the most of in that way, because I had just joined the organization about 8 months beforehand. So all the credit is really due to my staff and to Peter Ballantyne, who was my predecessor and who left in about 2017. And what I will be presenting today is really the evolution of knowledge management at ILRI from where he started from and where we are today as well. So giving you a case study in evolution and really how to build upon an existing kind of system that already exists. So let's see. So one thing that's really important, I think, as a research organization, ILRI is a research organization, that we don't just see communication and knowledge management and communication as just disseminating information. We as research organizations or as researchers or as knowledge management or communication specialists, it's not about us giving our knowledge and information to everybody, to the masses, to the ignorant target groups in a sense. What we really try to focus on, and I think we've been doing, and Peter tried to do this for many years as well, is really focus on the conversations and the connections, moving to more of a networked approach. And we found that very important because everyone has knowledge to share. It's not a top-down system or organization, and it's creating those conversations and those connections. And in this kind of case study, I'll also talk about communications a lot because, and if people are on the KM4Dev listserv, you'll see Peter had mentioned this as well, that there's a big continuum between knowledge management and communications, and they go very much together. So you'll see as well how we've kind of integrated both and how they work together. So just really briefly, I work for the International Livestock Research Institute, and we work on a variety of livestock activities throughout the world, particularly in Africa and in Asia. We work on everything from zoonotic disease to genetics to livestock production to value change to gender to livelihood improvement to nutrition. So it's a very big organization. And we have 3 objectives, basically to develop, test, and adapt science-based practices, increase capacity, and really kind of what drives our CKM strategy is to provide compelling scientific evidence in ways that persuade decision makers. So decision makers at all levels, from farmers to investors to policymakers, and that really kind of is our mandate to really develop, clear communications and knowledge management functions that really help scientists to reach outcomes and to integrate the research from research to design to getting to outcomes. So we see communication and knowledge management playing a central role throughout the research process, and that's really important to make sure, as Helen said, is to integrate it into the current, the work streams. We try to work, integrate it into the science kind of process as well. And we'll share some of those ideas as to how we do that. So in 2015, Peter and the team kind of outlined or kind of identified these, knowledge management challenges through a process. And, it was really at that time was to increase uptake of research. How do we make sure that research is being used? All this great research that we have, how do we make sure that it's being used? How do we make sure that it's widely available and accessible as an international public good? And for a research organization, that's really our bread and butter. But before like 2010, research wasn't that accessible and it wasn't that openly available. Again, how do we embed communications and knowledge sharing at all stages within the research process? So before this, a lot of the research, communications and knowledge management was done separately. So how do we embed it? How do we really not just help collaboration for collaboration's sake, but how do we, enhance collaboration and research to ensure impact? And I think that was really important. And then also how do we move towards open? How do we really start to have open access, open data, and really build that within a organization like ILRI, where that wasn't so prominent and before 2014, 2013. So kind of a little bit different from Helen in the sense of developing a strategy. They had developed a plan and a strategy, but it wasn't so, I would say, as comprehensive as Helen's in the sense of developing a theory of change, developing deliverables, developing a plan of work. What I think Peter did was, and I think is quite interesting, is to develop 10 principles to implement the strategy. And with that, they developed kind of like in the different areas that you'll see in a second, is, about 4 or 5 different, for each kind of key area that we work in, 3 or 4 kind of key outcomes to work towards. And I think that was quite important. So it was flexible, and these principles were supposed to kind of go through all the activities that we do in terms of communication and knowledge management and be applicable to the research. And I'm not going to go over these, all 10 of them, you can read those, but we will talk about, and I'll give you some examples about, the principles 1, 5, 6, and 7. So really looking at about how we went about making sure our information was open and public. How did we kind of create, it's not just about creating digital communications, but really face-to-face communications. This was all done before COVID. So, but really about how to embed yourself into meetings, really making sure that communications is everyone's responsibility, not just the communicators, but the researchers as well. And then linking our research to outputs and development outcomes. Linking our knowledge management activities to research outputs and development outcomes. So we'll just focus on those really quickly. In terms of the comms and KM continuum of how we work, so we have 3 key functions, and these still kind of are with us today. We have knowledge publishing and curation is to make our knowledge accessible. We have knowledge management, engagement, and collaboration. That's to really make sure that our knowledge is shared. And then we do a lot of communication, awareness, and advocacy. And that's really kind of something that we've really focused on the last couple of years, is knowledge into use. So these are our kind of 3 areas, or our key 3 functions. And again, what we did in that was develop 3 or 4 for each of these, like about 3 key priorities for a 2-year work plan. And that was really important to really ensure that we knew where we were going. And once those are finished, those are longer term plans, then you worked on some other ones as well. So I'll give you 3 examples of what we've done. One was making our outputs open and accessible, and we created something called CG Space, which is essentially initially it was just the document repository for all the outputs of ILRI. So as a research organization, our primary focus is on publishing, whether it's primarily in journals or books or reports. And the bread and butter is really to make sure that that's open. And so we developed something using a DSpace system that was called CG Space, and we were able to crowdsource in, and Peter was able to bring in a lot of the CG centers and even some other external organizations to really be part of that. And I think the key lessons that were really important to really get this moving is to really kind of improve the workflows and processes to make sure that they were in place. Having a champion there was also really important. So we have this woman, Abanet, who has been kind of the champion of the CG space and has been able to manage and develop the system as it goes. So really having those champions, the workflows, and the people in place. The other big thing is that we linked it to researcher performance. So for any output to be considered as an output for the researcher in their performance review, it had to be on CG Space. So in December, we get a rush of publications of everybody trying to get their publications onto CG Space, because if they don't have it in by the end of the year, it won't be considered in their performance review. So that really helps provide that incentive. We also provided, make sure that everything was open. And open access is a really big principle within the CGIAR now. And we really tried to provide a lot of training and make sure that everything was open. So this was a really important, for everybody. And I think that really, I would say we have about, there's always leakage when you have publications, but I would say that we have about 95% of the publications each year that's, that ILRI produces. So there's very little that we miss. We also developed something called the Explorer, which really kind of visualize the information as well. And you can go to this on, I thought I had I'll put the link in later. Oh, there it is, on cgspace.cgir.org /Explorer. And you can really, this really helps the researchers and even us as an organization visualize our outputs, but also kind of, it's an easy way to search for your own outputs and see where they are. So really making it user friendly and also easy, also kind of friendly and useful, I guess is the word, for the researchers. So that was really important as well. The next thing that we did that was really important was really to embed communication and knowledge management approaches into the research effort. So, what we did was develop, and I use this as well in some of the work that I did before I got to ILRI, was to embed a lot of the tools and activities we had into research projects. So the entry point that Peter found, which I think it was very kind of interesting if you're working for an organization, is projects and events. And it's really important that you as communication or knowledge management officers get involved in the research effort. You're not just seen as they come to when they need a brochure or they need to put a document into the repository, that you're part of the research effort and being part of it. And we found that, trying to get involved in projects and events was really useful. So in events, offering a package that we could provide to the research projects or to programs, whether it was facilitation, process documentation, or social media amplification, writing a blog article, all those things got us kind of our foot in the door into events, and then help to really shape and influence those events. It helped us get into the conversation, and it helped to stimulate kind of communities of practice. And what we developed was a core set of tools. And I'll talk about some of the lessons with those, but it was, at the project level, it was really providing some kind of a blog or a blog space, social media outlets. We provided repositories, not just CG Space, but places on SlideShare, Flickr, or YouTube where they could place their information. And then also collaboration space, whether that was a kind of a shared wiki or a SharePoint system, coffee chats, trainings, workshops, process documentation. So providing kind of the whole kind of set of things that you needed throughout the project lifecycle. So that was quite important. And then finally, I think the other important thing that we did for our researchers was really about personalization and really making sure that KMC, knowledge management and communication, was everyone's business. So providing them tools that they could use on their own, whether it was referencing tools, access to journals, helping them understand how they engage in conversations, not just disseminate information, but engage in these really interesting conversations that are going on Twitter or social media, or developing blogs and getting their research out. And so this was really important, was not just saying that they had to come to the communication and knowledge management staff to get their stuff done, that as we know today, communications and knowledge management and knowledge sharing is all about the personalization and our own use. So really putting the tools in the hands of the researchers as well. Just really quickly, when I came in about 2 years ago, they had a strategy. Peter had been gone for a couple of years, so things were kind of fraying at the edges, but there was still a really strong KM focus and a really core group of people who had the processes and procedures in place. So, what I call avoiding the white knight syndrome. We didn't come in on our horse and say, oh, everything is terrible, everything needs to be redone. I actually started with what's working and what are the opportunities. We know that the ILRI CKM is renowned, and what had been going on for years is really, really good. So how do we build upon that and then kind of link it to the new challenges and opportunities? So, we went through this process that I used, similar to Helen's in a sense, but it was about diagnosing, designing, and then testing, learning, and institutionalizing, and followed these steps as well as some of these questions that helped us to kind of diagnose where we were. And then after that, we designed with 2-year outcomes in mind. Again, champions is a big thing, as Helen mentioned before. And then developing baselines and metrics to really assess activities, which was really important. We found, again, new challenges and opportunities. I think those old challenges still existed, but ILRI had moved on, and there was a lot of other things that we also had to deal with. So from this, we developed kind of an updated strategy that worked around 4 core areas, still built upon all the great work that I just presented, but then we came up with 4 new areas of how we were going to work on those, using pretty much the same principles that Peter had already as well. So this was really about digitization and taking the opportunity of digitization and how we could really support that. Working on knowledge capitalization. So rather than just knowledge management, how do we kind of really repackage and synthesize across the center rather than just focusing on projects? And then this whole area of strategic communication and engagement, really to deal with the issues of some of the complex issues that we're dealing with in livestock. Another tool that we used, just really briefly, was a tool to really look at what we call eco-cycle planning. And because a lot of our activities were really, again, they were doing very well. They are core activities, a lot of the knowledge management and the communication activities that we had. And it wasn't that we wanted to do away with them, but we wanted to see how they were evolving and changing. So we use something called eco-cycle planning, where we start to look at where we see our current activities along a continuous curve of development. It doesn't mean that something's at the beginning or at the end, but if you start up at the top of the left here at renewal, that means like something, or that's something that's just starting to become renewed and starting to move. At the bottom left, we have birth, new sites, new activities, new things, but an old activity could be birthing new ideas as well. Maturity, and you see a lot of our activities in, particularly in the knowledge management area, we're in the maturity level. And what happens is that those activities slowly get into what we call a rigidity trap, that they become just so set that they don't have any innovation or new ideas. And then from there, you want to go into creative destruction, where you really take maybe things that are in the rigidity trap and try to improve those so that they go through creative destruction and then to renewal and then maybe into rebirth as well. Poverty trap is very interesting. It happens to a lot of information management tools. It's where a tool people get excited about, like a Salesforce or a publishing review tool. And then all of a sudden, maybe the resources weren't provided, maybe there isn't the staff to really, or the capacity to implement, and it becomes a poverty trap. So really looking at the rigidity traps and the poverty traps helps you to see where your activities are. And we found this really important. So it wasn't saying what activities we would keep or not keep, but it was more about where do we see activities along this kind of continual process for renewal and improvement. So just really quickly, some lessons learned. I guess capacity building is key. And building up researchers' capacity, knowledge, and excitement was always really important. So always working with researchers to give them the tools that they need. One of the things that we found is that technology comes and goes. So we used wiki spaces for a long time and they were quite useful. But then all of a sudden the wiki space company closed down and we had to move everything and there wasn't such a comparable tool. So really ensuring that you have the standards, the tags, and the metadata, and making sure that everything is interoperable will allow you the ability to change when technology changes. I think shifting focus over time, like we did, was really important. So bringing kind of a renewed, building upon what we had, but then building up a new focus and kind of a vision really helped the staff when I came in to see, okay, how does their current work fit into a new framework? And that really helped then make them feel comfortable and that they were working towards new goals, but in similar activities. And again, I think everything is changing so quickly in communications and knowledge management. Making 5 or 5-year plans or long-term plans is very difficult. Keep things to short and medium terms. And we get a lot of kind of day-to-day requests and emergency requests in communications and knowledge management. So identifying, 2-year priorities where you want to work to is very important so that you keep on track while doing the day-to-day work. And then, if you really want to kind of evaluate your current activities, we found the eco-cycle planning very interesting. And we actually do it every year for the activities to see how activities are tracking along this kind of continuum. So we found that really useful. So that is it for me. Thank you very much. So I'll stop my video.
As is always the case, we're running out of time. There's never enough time in these sessions. What I'd like to suggest, because we had planned now to do another chat fall and then go into a breakout group, but we actually are we're almost on quarter to the hour, so we have 15 minutes left in this session. Can I just throw out there, and then perhaps Andreas and Michael, we can agree on this. I think it could be useful if we pose the questions that we had wanted to ask in the chat fall and in the breakout groups. Use the chat fall, ask people to think and then answer the questions. And then we come back and we choose a few people who said interesting things and maybe go and ask them to provide a bit more detail. I don't think we've really got enough time to do both now. And also there were a couple of questions in the chat. Other people may have questions as well that we could finish with. What do you think?
I personally would always prefer to have some feedback on what you presented, just for clarification or better understanding, so that this one is done well. And if there is more time, then we can either make a chat for or other things. So if you allow, let us give the participants a bit of time to reflect on what you have presented. Let me just say that the two presentations here have been so condensed. These two champions have years of work put into 6 slides. So please have a serious look at this and think about what does that mean for you. And may I say one more word? Both of them have presented their knowledge management cases many times, if not 20, 30, or 100 times. And I tell you, this has helped them to perform better, I would bet. Because as soon as you talk about your own concepts and you answer questions and you present it in the way that it should be understandable by your management, by your team, then you will even improve your own practice. So I strongly recommend start today to create your own presentation of knowledge management in your organizations. And start talking about it. Convince your team, your members. Then you refer to such slides of Helen and Michael and others And we see how rich this experience is and how much it can help you. But now the floor is yours, and please answer your question, ask your questions. I pick up the one from Charles Dewa, who says that in many organizations, the communication and KM budget is cut first when it gets tough. And how did you run for, let's say, or would you say your work helped safeguard or increase the communication and KM budget because you demonstrated the value of communication and KM?
Can I just make a couple of comments on that? Because I think, you know, I think it's, for me, it's not, I'll talk about knowledge management and not specifically about communications because that was not my area of responsibility. But I didn't start with the idea of I needed a KM budget. I needed a budget in order to be able to do my work or to implement the strategy, because I think thinking in that way, it's another way to ensure that shifting priorities will mean the death of KM and communications initiatives. So what I did was I really tried to rely on the bodies we had, you know, the people and the expertise within the organization, really pushed the idea that knowledge management is everyone's business, and really practically worked on that to build it into the way people work in the organization. So you have a few people, very few in IFAD, who we would say are KM specialists, you know, that's their area of work. And we would, like, for example, I would actually do a lot of things, but I would also provide a lot of guidance. I really focused on that, providing guidance, providing resources, providing people with the tools they needed to implement the strategy. I mean, if you're going to like invest in infrastructure type things like major IT, ICT infrastructure, or, you know, publications, etc., that's another story. But actually, Michael may have something to say about that. But yeah, I tried to keep our action plan as budget neutral as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think, interesting. I think, if I look at like Helen's setup, yeah, it's a bit different to ILRI, where we have a more kind of traditional classic setup with a number of staff and resources. So I think two things. One is, I mean, I've been lucky in the last couple of years. We haven't had huge changes in our funding. It's actually gone up, and a lot of our advocacy work has been funded. We've gotten some funding from the Gates Foundation, so that's really, really helped us. What we've done, I think, is two things, is to really, like Helen said, embed it into the work. So we embed it into the research itself and make sure each of the research projects that people are developing, the budgets, and what we did was, we just made sure that each of the projects had budgets for communication and knowledge management, and they built that in there, and then also for staff. So the model was that it was built into the research projects, and that helped to make sure that staff were funded, as well as that there was money for, like, let's say CG space, which is it's a big infrastructure in terms of both kind of managing it, improving it, maintaining it, and then the the infrastructure costs. Each project contributes a little, so that helps to make sure that it's there. Over.
Great, thank you very much. There are other questions raised. Maybe feel free to even formulate them yourselves. We would like to hear your voices. Like Vida, you mentioned, for me, I said about knowledge management professionals, then this is accelerated with other reasons like facilities, equipments, etc. Paul asks, how effective is your open data being used in implementing your strategies and projects? I think that the open data has been answered by Michael. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know, in implementing our open access, particularly open access, open data has been, we've used it a lot, and I think in certain instances, and it, you know, I think for the researchers themselves, having access to open data sets is very useful. And yeah, I mean, having access to the reports is kind of really important in terms of how they define their issues and understand what's going on, as well as kind of, you know, providing that to others. So I think it is quite important, and I think it's something that researchers are starting to see more and more of the benefits of an open data approach.
Andreas, could I just say something? I'm seeing that Victoria has many really interesting questions that she keeps putting and observations. I don't think we can answer them all here. Your question about for organizations with several institutes, like 15 institutes with average of 70 staff in each, what would be the best approach to implement any KM effort? I think would be interesting to know who you work for, Victoria, but where you work, what type of, are they research institutes, for example? Michael probably has a lot of experience.
National Agricultural Research Organization.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really big question. You know, maybe you could have a knowledge cafe around that. But I just wanted to say, if Michael wanted to say something, for sure, I'm really happy to be further involved in collaborative sessions. I think, Andreas, you were asking if I'd even facilitate some of them. I'm really happy to do that. I also just wanted to underline, I'm sure that there is a lot of knowledge and experience in the room, you know, among all of you people, and I really hope that you'll have the opportunity to share that. And I also wanted to say that the questions that we wanted you to consider was what was the most important thing you learned today? What do you want to learn more about? And what are you going to actually do? They're really three very practical questions. And as Andreas said, if you want to send, well, me, I can't talk for Michael, but I assume he's the same. We're very happy to answer any questions that you want to send or compile and send, Andreas. So I just wanted to say that because it's difficult to answer all questions today.
I mean,
yeah.
And building upon that, I mean, for Victoria and others who are working in organizations, I'm happy to help out. I love the idea of setting up a peer assist or a world cafe or, you know, something, a knowledge cafe on this issue of how you work with kind of across multiple institutes. I just some kind of thoughts, Victoria, just really briefly. I mean, ILRI in a sense is a very large organization, and we have a very decentralized communication and knowledge management staff. So we have people embedded in programs, regions, and projects. And I've also helped kind of develop strategies for the National Research Institute in Laos with 10 centers and whatnot. I think 2 or 3 things. One is to identify champions in each of those institutes, and particularly if there's like a comms or a KM staff there, to build up that network and to develop them as champions or champions in with each organization. And the second thing, if you can do that, is to also provide, you know, even within their TORs, if you can get like 5 to 10% of that time for them to actually work on, you know, inter-organizational or institutional issues is really important. That's what we do. I have like about 35 staff within ILRI, but they, you know, and they have work for their project, program, or region, but I have 10% of their time where they work together with us. So you can do it by, you know, kind of building up the champions and your social network and your influence, but having kind of concrete time for those staff within those 15 institutes is really important. And if you're part of a kind of a network or a kind of a research, you know, institute or, you know, system, usually you can kind of carve out that time. So that helps a lot. because you can't do everything from above, and it's really looking at the roles and responsibilities and seeing it as a nested approach. So you have things going on at your level, at maybe the institutional level, what's happening at the center level, what's happening at the project level. So looking at it as a nested approach is really important.
Andreas, can I also just suggest that people, I'm just putting it in the chat, send a request to KM4Dev at groups.io to join the community, because it's a very rich community of knowledge management specialists from all over the world, and many more people are joining from African countries. And you can ask a lot of questions there that people will respond to. I just put it in the chat if people are interested. Just send me a message if you're not already in the community, and ask if you can join.
Thank you very much, Helen, for this. Yeah, building the relationship capital to find knowledgeable people to support you in KM is certainly a most important part of such a training. Now we introduced each other. Helen introduced us one very, very important and powerful international network. Have a look at KM. Yeah, the website may also be useful, km4dev.org. And no, I put it dev.org. So really, this is an important, maybe the most important international network for knowledge management in the development sector. Please connect to that. Yeah, let me thank you both, Michael and Helen, for your presentations and the answers to the questions. I would really like to still close, even though we might get a bit beyond the time, but let us reflect briefly together, also in terms of our socializing today. Only on the first question, what is the most important thing you learned today? Please think about this for just 1 minute. And then we will make a breakout session with only 2 people. That is your right or left neighbor, as to say. And share it with this other person. Because by talking about what you feel relevant, or what is painful, or what you want to know, etc., you make it more conscious, you make it explicit. And then it is much easier to solve the problems or to recognize what you have learned. So 1 minute on the question, what is the most important thing you learned today? Write it on a paper or keep it in mind. And then I'll send you in a breakout session with just 1 other person. And you have 2 or 3 minutes to share this. You don't need to share the results of that. You keep it just for yourself and take it with you. And tomorrow we will be able to continue with the other topics as well. You may, of course, think over the evening about which topic you would like to deepen and how to implement all this in your organization. But we will not have time to do this right now. So please think about the 1 most important learning, and in exactly 1 minute, I will send you once again in breakout sessions, and you just share it with that person very briefly, 1 minute each, and then we return. Okay, and then we say, make a farewell and discuss the way towards tomorrow. Is that okay? Helen, Michael, will you stay with us for these 5 minutes, or are you already in the next meetings?
No, I can stay.
Yeah, I can stay for 5 more minutes. Just yeah.
Okay. So we have 27 participants. I will create 14 sessions. And you have 1 minute each. So I will close this after, let's say, 3 minutes. Okay.
Hello, are we just 3 in this group? Or maybe we're supposed to join other groups? Apologies, because I'm at the office. I'm working on a deadline, so I'm kind of divided.
No problem. Just tell me, what was your most important learning for today?
Okay, for me, what I really picked out was the aspect of that knowledge management is about creating connections, because most of the times as communications people, we take it for granted that we always have to get information probably from the policymakers and stuff like that, but we forget to focus on the idea that communication is two-way. There are times we need to get information from the top management, and sometimes we get information from the people at the bottom. Yeah, for me, that really was very cardinal, and the fact that everyone has got something to share. That for me really struck me.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. Increasing the relevance in the organization. I think that specifically in communication and knowledge management, it's maybe a bit more difficult to demonstrate what you have achieved. Because if a person has a great idea, a learning, a takeaway, how do you measure it? How do you weigh it? That is more difficult. But if you don't do it, then people will say, I cannot touch what is the benefit of knowledge management. And then your position is weak. Okay, thank you for returning back. I'm not sure if the distribution to the breakout rooms went technically perfectly well, but I hope you could express your key learnings and share a bit. I hope that was fruitful. Please take that treasure with you, because every day, every hour, you learn something. And if you just take it as granted, tomorrow you forgot it. How do we really put these learnings like diamonds into our pockets that we will be able to reuse them tomorrow? You may have your techniques, write it on a paper, write it into your diary. Many people write a diary every day. Put it in your documents, add it to your knowledge management presentation. Do whatever you think is reasonable, but capture the most important learnings. And I would say we can close for today by thanking Helen and Michael for their participation, their presence, their sharing, and their willingness to contribute also during the rest of the challenge, being available for any kind of question or supporting in one of the knowledge cafes that we have. And of course, I would like to thank all of you for your attention, for your good questions, for your passion, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Before closing, I would like to hand over to Benjamin. I think he has some organizational issues as well to discuss.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Andres. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Michael. It's a very interesting, knowledge sharing time with almost everyone. Thanks to participants for staying true. I think network hasn't been a big issue today, even though I know a few people have been going in and out, but generally we have maintained the 33 participation. That includes the technical staff who are signed up to it, but we have 28 participants from the countries. So it's been very exciting, and I'm sure, I mean, the expectations will even be more, looking at the fact that this is just the first day. So we look forward to tomorrow. Today, we want to also apologize to the Francophone participants. It was a bit difficult to make last-minute arrangement for translation, and that explains how come you had the invitation to this training late, because we had the names a bit late. So we would work at it. We'll discuss with the leadership, and then hopefully tomorrow will be a better version for everyone, meaning that we look forward to be able to ensure that we all are on the same level of understanding in terms of the language barrier. So I think these are just a few things. I would take the presentations and upload them on the folder for access by everyone. So maybe in the next 1 hour, please, you can visit the folder again, and then you will have access to the presentations that were made today. And we encourage you to also share as much as possible. I know we are many of us here are social media savvy. You can share whatever message you want to share on your wall. Just hashtag KM4AD challenge, and then any of us, and I'm sure it will get the mileage that we need. So we'll also share, I'll also share the D group. You will get an email from me on D group, just to be sure that all of us get updates as it is. So thank you very much, and back to you, Andres.
Okay, thank you, Benjamin. For tomorrow, I just would like to request you maybe to think about these questions that I provided. What can I implement? What do I want to deepen? And if you have time to watch the video on KM fundamentals that has been provided to you, then probably it makes even the discussion tomorrow easier. We will continue tomorrow with parts of what we have missed today, and then welcome Millicent Awiti from the Kenyan National Social Security Fund to share experiences on ISO standard 3041, and then deepen knowledge leadership and knowledge culture. So for today, let me close this session. Thank you very much for participation. We continue at 11 Ghana time. Please be aware of the time differences, and I wish you a very good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So leave the window open for 5 minutes, where whatever you want to say, you say, and then you can leave.
Sure.
Bye, Andrea.